All right, so I'm sitting here. It's a Sleepwalker Radio, also OHOP and The Grape and all that good stuff. It's Amari. I'm sitting here with Suzi Analogue, and also we'll go around and introduce ourselves and all that. But yeah, it's Amari.
I'm Dani.
Honey Brown.
Right. Honey Brown. Yeah.
I'm Damani.
And we're here.
Oh yeah. I'm also here. I'm Suzi Analogue.
Yep. And Suzi's performing at the SCO later tonight, and we just figured while she's here we'd ask a few questions that we had. I guess I can just start off with the first one. I know that you've kind of lived all over just in your life and been around, but do you have like a specific place that you would say you identify most, like at least musically or just personally as well?
In general, I always describe myself as very East Coast.
Mm-hmm.
So, like the whole sound of the Eastern Seaboard, on the black hand side.
Yeah.
That's where I got my first education.
Mm-hmm.
Everything from growing up like in church with gospel music to like club music on the radios, Be More clubs, to go-go on the radio, to my family's from, my dad's side of the family's from the Bronx, so to hip-hop, literally everything. And then something about the East Coast, like people always move from all different places, so you just get an influx of music from like, then I'm hearing like hip hop from Detroit, and I'm hearing stuff from Chicago, and then I'm like learning about the percolator. But I thought the percolator was B More for the longest time. I didn't know that was as a kid. I thought that was from B More. So that was like my first education with club music, and so yeah, I would just say that is how I categorize, or like that's what I feel close to sound-wise, that experience of so many different sounds as you just travel up and down the highway. Yeah.
And you grew up in Baltimore, right?
I actually grew up in Virginia.
Oh.
Like, I went to school. I always say I went to school in Virginia because I really didn't have family there. My family was like More, North Carolina.
Yeah.
But I grew up in 804 actually, so that's like Richmond area, central, kind of central. It's really southeast. But anyway, yeah, I grew up there, and like the vibe growing up was definitely like bass out the trunk, like adding subs to your car. Like that was my dream. I'm like, yes. Or like anybody who had that, I love to ride with them. And they're always playing like the new like No Limit, or like like that was my growing up. So I would say like, even though I heard like club music on the weekends, or like go-go on the week, on the week. That was only on the weekends. It wasn't like throughout the week. It was like very southern. It was very like bass and rap music around me, and R&B. But that's on my mom.
So I guess here the next question that we have is I guess about a collaborator. Oh yeah. So I guess broadly, who are your favorite, some of your favorite folks to collaborate with? You wanted to ask you about that. And who are you looking forward to working with in the future? And then specifically, like also in regards to NappyNappa, how did you guys end up collaborating, and like how did what's the story there? Yeah.
Well, collaboration wise, like I'm always actually down to collaborate with anyone. I'm not one of those people. I mean, early on, like when I lived in Philly, we had clip mode, and it was like me, Knxwledge, Mind Design, Devin Who, and we collaborated a lot. And so I liked that, but that was like a phase of like Philly. So after that, I didn't really like tend to collaborate with like, any one person. It's just kind of who's around, who's inspired. I've also collaborated with Toki Monster. We had projects together. NappyNappa out of Southeast DC.
Yep.
He's a part of my NeverNormal SoundSystem. So because I realized I love collaborating with many different people, decided to build a collective called NeverNormal SoundSystem, and it's really just like diasporic modern music. Like a lot of people who embrace the concept of technology in their process and perform new work. And so I really like to collaborate with the people in the sound system, not just on music, but I'm like very multidisciplinary. I'll like do a shoot, I'll style somebody, I'll like do the graphics. Like that's why I started NeverNormal Records, my label, because I just really love the entire process of creating records. So yeah, in general, like I'm actually a big collaborator, but recently I've been collaborating with people like all over the world. So that's pretty exciting. I want to just keep that going.
Yeah. Yeah, for sure. Oh yeah. We were talking about this a little earlier today, but you were in Uganda this summer.
Yeah.
And I was wondering just kind of how that all came together and whatnot.
Well, this was my second time being in Uganda. I originally went in 2015. I was a cultural diplomat on the behalf of the U.S.
Oh shit!
Like actual, like they had us in a bulletproof van and stuff.
Oh damn!
We were going to the embassy. Yeah, it was actually a cultural diplomacy program called Knxwledge, which is still around. Have you ever seen this photo of Louis Armstrong playing the trumpet in front of the pyramid to his wife? It's the same program. In general, it's the same program that the government has allotted for artists to go and exchange in conflict zones. So it's just this iteration utilizes hip hop. And so they sent a beat maker, MC, DJ, and B-boy or B-girl to different countries and cities, and I was one of the groups. So I did beat making and production classes, and I taught a group of students at a youth center, Ableton.
Oh, damn.
And this is 2015.
Yeah.
So when I was there, then it was really all about the program. We had a few like press runs, so we got to meet some local DJs, and we got to check out a couple spots, but it really wasn't any hanging out. So I just said this year, I dropped ZONEZ. I said, I want to do ZONEZ World Tour. Yeah. I made a status. I said, I'm trying to go back to Africa. I'm trying to go back to Asia. My students from then were like, you have to come play this festival we have now.
Oh, damn.
And I'm like, oh, do I? Tell me more. This festival had essentially started, it's called Nyege Nyege Festival. It's in Uganda. It's a global festival of just like amazing music from the underground up around, centered in Africa, but it's about the global perspective of music and the global underground. So they were telling me about it. They said, hit up this guy on Facebook. I was like, all right, cool. Hit him up. He said, yeah, we do artist residencies. Come. I said, yeah, I already have students. I already have like people I know. I've been wanting to get back there. So this time I went, it was more like I could hang out. I could check things out. I could meet people. I had leisure time. And I just lived amongst the people. So I was in Kampala, which is the capital of Uganda. It's very busy. It's developing. It's like a developing city, but I love that energy. And I was able to just collaborate. I lived next door to the artist residency space. I lived at the like promoter's spot. And literally next door is like a studio, and like you go there and it's like 15 people out there at the house, like making beats, and like somebody's drumming, and like it's always 10 things going on. But we're like on a dirt road. On a dirt road, like one store with like 2 street lights, like wild dogs up in that street. The motorcycle taxis that call boda bodas that take you up the road to the main market. I mean, it's just like really raw. Like it's not. None of I don't think a lot of my friends could like really just dive into it. They'd be like, yeah, like they would be freaking out because I just think here in the States we're so like clinging to our modernity, like it's crazy. But I loved it. It makes me feel alive when I'm there. And the people that I meet, Ugandans in general, are just very nice. Like they're just very nice people. It's an English speaking country as well, so there's really not any issues with communicating. And they love to dance, they love to celebrate, they love to party. So they're all about music, and I just got really inspired being there, meeting new radio presenters, the new DJs, because last time that was 4 years ago, so it's kind of like who was hot then, they're still hot, but there's some new people, and then there's some new records, and there's new artists, and like I met the people who know all those people and could link me really easily. So I'm just like really excited because I'm actually going to go back in like 2 weeks. In the middle of just like touring, and just go reconnect. Also, I met designers out there, so they had Kampala Fashion Week. So there's like, they had Kampala Fashion Week after I left. I was like gutted, but there's one designer who remembered me. See, this experience was crazy because when I went, the kids, I call them, they were probably like 17 to 19. Okay, yeah. But now they're like 23, 22, you know, like, so they've put on their own festivals. They've started their own clothing lines. They've like started being entrepreneurs, and like they can show me stuff, and they're like, Suzi, please sit with me. Like, I want to build on this. So I help. I said, okay, cool. I'll come do a studio visit. Like, okay, cool. Make me something for the festival. But now I'm like the brand manager on their Instagram. I'm like, put this in your bio. I'm going to make a video for you. Send me all the clips from the fashion show. Like, I'm working with certain people from designers to the Street Art Festival, which I mentored a former student. The final day of our beat making class, I realized he named a beat Sparrow. And I had seen the tag Sparrow in the streets. And I went to him, I said, is this a thing? Because I'm thinking it's like a cartoon, like a national cartoon, something, some kind of fixture culturally. I said, what does Sparrow mean? He said, that's me. I was like, you write Sparrow? He's like, yeah, I write Sparrow. I'm like, you do graffiti? Because he's the quietest person in the class, literally the quietest. I'm like, wow. Because I always like loved him. I was like, oh, he's so quiet, it's so nice, you know. He's like, no, he was tagged. I said, bro, like, I love graffiti. Like, my sister, like, I have an older half sister, and she like tags. She grew up in the era of that, so she knows Hall of Famers and everything. I was telling him like, yo, I'm like actually into graffiti. And he was like, wow, oh my gosh. So ever since that day, he came to me, he would have like drawings, like, here's this. And then we kept talking. He told me, I want to do something. I want to start a graffiti party, a graffiti festival. I'm like, graffiti? No, but street art, yes. And I'm just like mentored him. I showed him different things, helped him make a logo, and now this is his 3rd year doing it. He not only had the street art festivals called Africans, like cans, African street art. He has a booming Facebook group in this crazy huge festival. Like, it was hundreds of people out. It's in the middle of the slums, but it's a skate park in the middle of the slums. Oh, shit. Like, it's just amazing. And then they're doing the walls all around, and then they're DJing. I DJ, and you know, Rashji, RIP, just passed away, and I got a chance. It was right after that, and Rashji's been to Kampala. Actually, when I went to Kampala, he had been to Kampala first. Like, he was really on the African Space Program tip. And so I would ask him questions. I'm like, yo, what's this? He's like, link with this person. He would put me on. Oh, shit. Yeah. And so I played his beats out, you know, at the festival. And that's what it's all about to me, you know, just making this more real, like especially like our diaspora connection. Here we're very limited for how we can reconnect with Africa. There's never any entry points. There's never anyone saying, hey, this is how you can go. But, the other cultures, they have birthright and stuff. What do we have? So I really have come, especially in this past experience, to realize that I want to create some kind of network, some kind of system that creatives can engage from the continent and elsewhere, diasporically, with each other, because we need to be connecting. We're going into the future. Yeah. We're going into 2020, and we need to have a know-how what each other is doing. Everybody just can't be in tune with what's going on in the States, because they're over there killing it in many other ways that we need to be connected with. So, this is like a really great experience, and like now I will just try to stop over as much as I can. I'm going to stop back over in Kampala on the way to Asia, which I'm playing in November. So I'll be there in a couple of weeks, and just going to keep the vibes going and hopes to bring as much to light that's happening in East and Central Africa, because West Africa gets shine. It's a coast, and it's right there, and it's close to everything. This is the middle of Africa. They call it the pearl. Uganda is the pearl of Africa. It's like east, but it's like basically in the middle of Africa. So people don't think that anything's going on, but it's a lot going on, and we need each other, just diasporically, we need each other. So yeah, this trip was real dope. The festival, I just encourage anyone to just look up Nyege Nyege 2020. They have a boiler room up now that they did this past year and the one from before, and their artists are starting to get out because of the platform they're building there. So they're starting to tour here and elsewhere, and that's amazing. So yeah, just check out for Nyege Nyege. It's a huge excuse to go to Africa.
Absolutely. I wanted to just kind of talk a little bit further about that, especially as you were saying, moving like internationally and definitely being conscious of diaspora. I was just curious about like your experiences traveling as a musician while being both Black and American, right? Like how
and a woman.
How that kind of shapes the way that you move, in both like at gigs, off the gigs, in different places, in respect to your safety, trying to take care of yourself and protect your whole energy.
Yeah, it's really a mindfuck, honestly. It's always a mindfuck, like, especially like, just I don't hide my femininity or anything like that. I don't try to downplay it, which in the past I feel like a lot of presenting artists did have to do that, like. But I travel dolo. And sometimes I'm looking like, what the hell am I doing? Like, I'm really on a dark road. Nobody in the back, like, trying to get to my friend's apartment that's behind a gate. Like, I'm like, what am I doing? But it's thrilling to me. I'm a risk taker, and like a pioneer of sorts. Yeah. So I've embraced that part of my identity. But it is always about being on top of things. It's just certain ways I even dress. I have pockets. Like, I keep my phone like right here. And it's just about knowing. I lived in Philly and the Bronx as well. So I think being a part of like, or being in different communities that make you think fast like that, as a woman, you kind of learn, and especially as a Black woman, you learn to like be ready for anything. Right. But then there's like a really bright side that it's just like people don't expect you. It's kind of refreshing. Like, people don't expect you to be there to like weigh in, to have an opinion, to and it's nice because they're like, oh, Suzi's here. She changed the energy up a little bit. Yeah, like, we like this. This is cool, and I feel like that's part of my purpose, to just refresh the environment. And so, it has its ups and downs, but mostly like, especially when I'm on the continent, people look out. They're like, sister, Like they're like, what's good? They don't try to take advantage of anything. And all the catcalling and stuff, you just get used to that in Brooklyn. So like so I'm used to that stuff, and I just have to be on top of my logistical stuff. I was just telling my agent yesterday because we were checking out some visa things for when I go to Europe, and I was just like, no, you need to have it straight, because when you travel alone as a Black woman to these different countries, especially like Europe or Canada, they think you're a prostitute.
God.
It's weird.
Damn.
Like I've gotten stops in Canada because I didn't know that you can just go. You can tell them that you're playing a show. If it's under $10,000, you can just. And I'm like, this is my first time. I'm going on a bus, so the bus stops at the center, and they're like, they have to check everybody. They saw us from Miami. They're like, oh. They checked all my things.
Yeah.
They're like, the bus can go. I'm like, oh, man. And I'm stressed out. And then they're like, why are you coming? Like, how much money do you have in your bank account? Like,
what?
Because they think that people are doing human trafficking, and that does happen. And so specifically as a Black woman, when you're traveling, especially to these like whiter places, like Europe and stuff, they check you. They try to see what you're up to, and I'm like literally a diplomat of the United States. But I don't look like it. And the other thing that's funny is like if I travel like first class or something, they're like, right? I come on, like they're like looking at me like yes, it's me. I'd be flying miles. So it's just really a mindfuck, because the world never tells you as a Black child you can do this stuff. And that's like, it means a lot to me to just try even when it's hard.
Yeah, I have just like one more question, kind of more about the music stuff, because I know like, well, I've listened to like a lot of your music, and it's very there's like a lot of variety to it, and like each like project or every song to song can sound like pretty different. I was just wondering, what type of like programs do you use, or like do you change, like have you changed what you've been using even like when you perform as opposed to making it?
No, that's the funny part. I just use the same thing over and over. Really? I use the same exact things over and over. The elements that might change, what does change is me. Like, I'm just coming from Uganda, or I'm just coming from Seoul, or I'm just coming from Philly, or just coming from like Rio de Janeiro. And so I'm like, when I come back and I sit down, I'm like, this is what I come back with. And that is actually the basis of me creating. That's why I created the series as zones, because it's really like zones. It's like spaces that I've gone to that I want to bring to a track. And so I allow myself to change an experience. And also part of my process is me allowing myself to go out into the world and just be a sponge. Like, there's times where I don't make tracks. Like, actually, I've made some tracks, but I haven't, like, binge tracked out. Like, I'm not one of those people that's like, yo, every day tracks. Like, no. I go, I live, and then I sit down. When I come back to my studio, I'm like, all right, now what did I think? like, what did I see at the festival in Uganda? Like, what did I see, like, when I was just in Brooklyn? Like, and that's when I create. So that's what you hear, but the tools I use, I may add, each zones I've actually added a new synth or something. But I've used Ableton for every single zones. True. Shout out Ableton. I'm actually about to go do some work sessions with them in Berlin. And I'm kind of loyal in that way, where it's like, my tools that I love, I don't be switching it up. I'm not like a gear person. Like, I need this, I need that, I need this. I'm like, I'll try that. And if anything, if somebody else has it, I'll go to their studio and I'll record some samples so I can loop and bring it back and be like, yeah, I had the new Moog Matriarch. Sure. Great. Like, it was cool. But I'm really all about use what you got and use it to the best of your ability. And like, I'm not really about like buying every piece of gear.
Yeah.
Because it's all about your real process.
Facts.
Yeah. So yeah, that's why I have variety in the tracks because I'm really just trying to show how you can utilize your experiences to make different sounding music.
And from that point of like having the different experiences and then taking time to reflect on them and then getting back to your studio and like now boom, now you're sitting like at your laptop. How do you go about is there like really like an ordered way that you go about translating that, or you're just like for every experience it's like a different thing trying to recall that and like make it into like sound?
Yeah, when I started ZONEZ, I used to like write down tangible thoughts. So it could be like anything like say I was like in here and I liked some text that was here, or it says flash, flash, and I'd be like flash, flash. And then I will go back and be like, I remember I have a photographic memory and I also have synesthesia. It somehow works together weird like that where if I go to the studio, I'm like, oh, flash, flash. I was feeling like this. Like, I remember. And I just try to like get that vibe of whatever that moment was, however my psychoanalytical self works it out. And it's really just about recalling.
Right.
Recalling the experiences for me.
Word. And so you have a crazy recall then because
it's crazy.
The
People are always almost freaked out. They're just like, "What? I said that?" I'm like, "Yes."
Yeah. You wrote it actually. Like,
yeah,
like,
I wrote it. Especially if I read text. I read a lot of books.
And it's just in there.
And it's in there, and I didn't. You know how people like are like, oh, I'm watching something over. I'm watching a new movie, and I'm just like, like that's too much. It's overload because I really remember. It doesn't thrill me to rewatch something really.
Right.
It actually I get it the first time. I'm like, that was great. I am so informed. Like I'm gonna take this. Yeah, I have a weird brain.
I don't really love weird brains.
Yeah. I
I
didn't know I had one until I grew up. Like, yo, everybody's not like this. Like, all right, cool, fine.
You got anything else?
Nah, pretty much it.
Let's see if there's anything else. Two other questions.
Sure.
One, what are some of your favorite brands to wear? Like, how do you approach like styling yourself?
Brands?
Or what do you like to wear? How do you like to approach that?
Oh, okay. I'm kind of like very community focused when it comes to that. Like I'll wear a lot of T-shirts I wear just my friends gave me. It's like from my friends' brands or something. I am a part of the Chromat Babe community, so I did the soundtrack for one of their runway collections and performed it live. So that's like a what do they call this? Architectural. It's a really cool way. Architectural activewear line for women, but I wear a lot of like chroma. It's just like almost like workout gear between workout and like beach gear, but you could just wear it like as is. But shout out to Chromat. They just had Rico Nasty. And I just pointed at you just because you're from the area. Rico Nasty. They just had her in their fashion show. And I don't know. I'm like, I try to wear, like black owned brands, honestly. And I really rock with like Telfar and stuff. Like, I don't really own too much of it yet. But that's what I'm doing is tours. But yeah, I have friends who do the fashion shows. I'm into fashion. I'm actually into fashion. My mom was like best dressed. My grandma was like, when she passed away, like I went to her closet. She had like Oscar de la Renta and Christian Dior. And I'm like, how do you get this in rural North Carolina? Like, she had all the drip in a little corner across from a cornfield. So I have a stylish family, I would say. We always have good taste. And so for me, I've always been like, let me freak this. Like, let me make this. Like, I'm one step away from designing a line myself. I've just been doing I'm wearing my Suzi gear today.
Yeah. Sweet.
But yeah, I really just try to peep designers that are like innovative or doing something that is like echoing the vibes of the community that they're surrounded by. And then as far as like designs in general, I just like color. I feel like color is like such an amazing thing, the use of color, and I feel like it's also like an African thing to utilize color in your style of dress. And so yeah, it's just like, to me, style is communication. So with everything I wear, I'm communicating something. If you look in my hair, I have my name spelled out. Like everything is a message. So by the time you see me, we already have had a conversation.
Yeah. That's fire. My last 3 questions are rapid fire, and they're fun and easy. What's your favorite hot sauce?
Louisiana.
Personal?
That Louisiana, that world of hot sauce is definitely yes.
So like tangy over spicy?
Yes.
All right, what's something you do before noon every day?
Eat breakfast.
You're like a breakfast person?
I'm a huge. In the first hour of me waking up, I have to eat. I don't do anything. I won't get on a call or email or nothing.
You're winning.
Yeah, that's very healthy. Yeah, I wish I did that.
Yeah, that's the shit.
Especially with traveling, though.
Yeah.
You have to get into habits like that because that's how you hear, your favorite artists, they be getting fucked up.
Yeah.
And because you have to create some habits for your body.
Mm-hmm.
And what is your favorite time of day? Dusk, right in the early morning, right at lunchtime, like in the evening, like wait, like.
No, the whole day gives me anxiety. When I wake up, I'm hopeful, and then I'm like stressed. Then I'm like, it's the middle of the day. Then I'm like, I should be doing something. Then by the end of the day, I'm like, no, it's almost over. I think I feel free at night. Yeah. You've helped me come to that realization. Thank you.
I'm glad I could be of use. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you so much.
Thanks for having me. I'm looking forward to the show tonight. Everybody's gonna kill it.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
But yeah, I guess we'll signing off. I'm Amari.
I'm Dani.
Damani.
Peace.
And Suzi.
Oh wait, it's me. I keep forgetting I'm here.